Hello everyone, this is Christina Safford and this is my blended learning exploration. Um, First I started with my reflection on the question from um, the Koros chapter 9. What opportunities are you providing for informal learning, exploration, and play with technologies in your organization? So in my schedule, I have extra time right after recess every 6 school days because of my special schedule. So on those days, I use the extra 50 minutes after recess to introduce new applications on the iPad or new features or familiar applications. I usually do a quick 20-minute lesson on the new app or review the familiar app and then do a quick lesson on the new features in that app. Then I give the kids a chance to play and explore the app or new features for about 20 minutes. And then the last part of our tech time is choice time. This is when they can explore any app that they've been introduced to and even the features I haven't introduced. It's literally one of my students' absolute favorite days of the week. They come in, they see tech time on my schedule, and they get very, very excited. So for my blended learning exploration, I chose to do a lesson on sight word introduction and practice. So during this activity, I will introduce new sight words and help students practice sight words in a station model of blended learning. Students will be placed into rotation groups based on data and needs. There'll be 4 stations: touch and write sight words on the iPads, digital learning sight word activity on the iPads, a teacher instruction station, and make a word center, which is not a digital platform, but a paper and pencil sort of platform. So for my first station, Touch and Write on the iPads. Touch and Write is a great app. It's usually the first app that I introduce on the iPads because it's really tactile for the kids. They love the fun backgrounds and things they can write with. It allows them to practice letter formation, learn common animal words, and it's very easy to use. So for this station, the students would have their individual sight word lists up on their iPad. They would bring their list up and then can practice hearing, seeing, and writing words using proper letter formation. So I'm going to I have a little video that shows you how touch and write sort of works. Touch and write is one of my kids' absolute favorite activities. They love the backgrounds. They think it's really cool that you can hear like the shaving cream coming out of the can while you're writing words in shaving cream. Um, Often when they have a choice, they will choose to use touch and write. So it's a really motivating. They really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. My second station would be a digital learning sight words activity. In this activity, students will be reading, spelling, hearing, recognizing, and sorting sight words. They'll be assigned words based on their individual needs. And this would be an activity I would spend a lot of time introducing and working on together before I would have it as part of my station rotations, because there are a couple little nuances that they need to understand. And like down here, they need to know what this little symbol means and what this means. So I would spend some time with this before it became a station. But once it became a station, it would be an independent station that they could do when they get an opportunity to do so. Station number 3 is the teacher instruction station. I would use a lesson template where we would do review. We talk about previously taught sight words. We read and write them together on dry erase boards. Then I would do the introduction. I would introduce new words, point out word features that will help students remember spelling or how the word looks. And then I would use the say it, spell it, say it protocol, which is where you have a child write a word on the board, and then you run your finger underneath the word and say the word together, and then you tap each letter and spell it together, and then you say it again, running your finger underneath the word again. I have found it to be a very useful protocol, and I feel like it really helps students because they're hearing it, they're spelling it, they're sort of feeling it with their finger. It's one of my favorite protocols. And then there would be some group practice. I'd play a group sight word game with the previously learned and new words sort of mixed together. And then there would be some independent practice, which would be during their reading conference. I would have them read with me, and I would have them point out sight words, or as they were reading, I would make note of what sight words they have and which ones they don't. And then the last station would be our Make a Word Center. Each child would have a set of word cards that they're working on. They put the card in the read section, which is right here. And then they would build it with the little foam letters that are here. I've also used magnetic letters when I haven't had enough foam letters. And then they write it using a dry erase marker. Surprisingly, this is also a favorite of my students, or has been in the past. They like seeing that progression, and then what I usually have them do is they have to check off the words that they've worked on, because a lot of times there's more words than they're going to be able to work on in one day. And then I have them read those words that they did on a particular day to me so that I know what's happening or how they're doing with their sight words. The resources that I used this time are a little different. Most of them were sort of generally helpful in my creation of my project. There wasn't any particular quotes like in my last presentation, but there were several videos on YouTube talking about using blended learning with reading instruction and with very young students. So I took a lot from those, a lot from the way they talked about how to set up your stations and your management. I also put the link here for the Make a Word Center, which is from Really Good Stuff. And then I just put the Touch and Write iPad app as well. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it, and any feedback that you have would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.